Andy, thank you for coming on the deep dive. I appreciate having you on.
Thanks.
So, you've been around a long time. Your son races Lucas. Everybody knows Lucas. So I wanted to get you on just because I've talked to you at the track a lot of times. You have a lot of perspective on racing, and I thought that would be interesting. But how did you get involved in the sport to begin with?
Well, I was born and raised in Lebanon,
So
which
am I.
was a really racy community. There was a lot of it. Not no tracks, but I guess years ago there was a track long before my time. But there were a lot of race cars, a lot of race car drivers. There were Dick Tobias had a speed shop there. Bill Gettle at A&G Automotive built engines. So it's just not only the racing itself, but just a lot of businesses and things that pertain to racing. So it was a racing community, really. And my older brother Donnie, he started it by he was into it before I was because obviously he was older. But he got a hobby car. It was a stock car. They called it a hobby car back then in Fredericksburg Speedway, which was not too far from Lebanon, just north of Lebanon. And that's kind of was the start of it.
So you got the itch to jump in a car, which I guess you ran a go kart in
Yeah,
1975.
yeah. Well, I forgot about that. We had go karts. We raced at Wednesday night at Silver Spring Speedway on the big track. So that was a pretty big track for go karts back then, anyway. And that's when I met Gail and Alan and all the Chrysler kids because they were running the racetrack on a Wednesday night with all us kids racing go karts.
I never knew they raced go karts there or they raced Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah. It was well, what year would it be? Early '70s, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, 71 you they is what I guess is when that.
Yeah, I guess that would be it. I had to because I graduated in '74, so it was right before that 60. So yeah, right around there, 71, 2, 3, right in there.
So you got kind of tied into sprint cars. Did you work on Lee Osborne's car in 1973 and that's kind of how you got into the sprint car game a little bit?
Yeah, because as fans, we always went to the Reading Fairgrounds. That was really big because, of course, Bobby Gerhart, Dick Tobias, they both raced at Reading then. And I guess they ran some sprint cars too, or bugs or whatever back then. But right around those years, the early '70s, it was a really modified deal. And Reading was uh, quite a place. It was they raced Friday night and Sunday night, two nights a week at the same racetrack, and they got big crowds both nights. And it was really something. I've never seen anything like it since then. As far as a weekly track goes, they used to really pack in people. But so that was pretty much where we went to the modifieds. I had neighbors that liked going and family members. So the only time we saw sprint cars there were the USAC races they would have there 2 or 3 times a year, and that was pretty cool. A lot of great race car drivers back then ran the USAC sprint deal. So then I think about later, and when I could drive myself and my friends could drive, we started to go to Williams Grove to the sprint car races. So that's how I got going there. And then the biggest thing was I went to work I mentioned his name earlier, at an engine shop, an engine building shop. I was still in high school on the East End of Lebanon. It's called A&G Automotive, and the guy that were two owners, but Bill Gettle was the racer of the two. And I started working there, working on engines, and I got to know a lot of racers coming in and out of there. And one of the guys I met was Lee Osborne, and he needed help, and that was really good for me. So I helped him. So the last couple of years of high school and right after I got out of school, before I started racing myself, I helped.
So I believe your first kind of foray into driving a sprint car was URC. Is that correct? Like 1976?
Yeah, again through working with Lee, he built race cars too, and he had built a car for a guy named Imani Wernette, who ran URC. It was a new car. We built it for him in '75. It was a roller when it left Oz's shop. He was in Mount Zion, by the way. That's where his shop was. And Monty ran it for a year, decided he didn't want to race anymore, and it was an opportunity for me to buy it. So that's how I got started. And then that was '75. So '76 was the first year I raced, and it was URC. Yeah, it was a good place to go, good place to start to learn. It was either old guys quitting or new guys starting. So it was pretty good.
You got to win that year.
Yeah, but July 4th
Where
of '76 was the first time I won a race. That was pretty wild.
where was that?
At Weesport, New York.
Oh, all the not even in Pennsylvania.
No, I don't even know if we raced in Pennsylvania. Yeah, we ran Jennerstown, but I think everywhere else was New York and New Jersey back then. So I think it was like a 22 or 23 race schedule. And yeah, I don't think we raced. I think Jennerstown was the only PA track we raced at. Used to go to Flemington. That was something.
What was it like racing at Flemington? I've heard a lot of stuff about it.
It was fast. It was. I guess they considered it a half mile, but it was like mile. It was like racing Syracuse as far as the speed. I mean, you never slowed down. It was pretty wild.
Isn't it like it was like a square corner?
Yeah. You really had to. It was. You didn't want to make a mistake.
1977, you end up at the Grove. It didn't take you long to move up to what I guess would be called a 410 at the time or whatever.
Yeah.
What car were you in?
Well, it was the same car, and then it would be LPS, Love and Pattern Shop. Joey Welfling and Rick Welfling. Joey and I went to school together, but he wanted to be get involved in racing, and I wanted to drive, so we kind of were friends, and he helped me right from the start. And then Ricky got involved a little later, and he became a really good car builder. Built a lot of Silver Spring Sportsmen, a lot of winning cars, and then we raced together for I think 76, 77, 78, and 79 local racing. And back then it was the 312 era as far as engines go.
What? And again, like URC, you won your first year.
Yeah.
I
what
mean,
was that?
I think that you won your first year from the.
Yeah. It was my rookie year. Yep. Yeah, I started a pole at Weedsport and just drove sideways and nobody could pass me, and then I won the race.
But I think at the Grove too, didn't you win your first year?
Yes. Yeah. I was lucky enough to win. Yep.
Lucky enough to win.
Yeah.
Now you've driven a lot of cars over the years.
Sprint cars. Do you mean for different people?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the list. I mean, it's Bob Weichert. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big name.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Cook, Maynard Boop, Daryl Saucier, Bobby Glenn, Roger Powell, Leon Wintermeyer, Glenn Heineman, Ted Cano, Ken Cooper, Gene Jenkins, Bill and Jesse Keene, and Jim and Laura Albach. And I want to talk about a few. Weichert. I mean, that's obvious, the first one. What was it like driving for Bob? How long were you in that thing?
Well, not long enough. It was 1980. I think I was like 23.
Oh,
And I moved in one of his I was still living at home, so when I went down there, so he owned a lot of property, so I moved into one of his farmhouses, and it was they're great people. His wife did all the cooking. I was like, I never left home as far as eating well, and that opportunity came to me by the way of Dick Hench. He was a mechanic there, and I think Kramer was driving near the end there, and then they split up, and Henchy lobbied for me to get the car, so that was all him. He was I like Dick a lot, and so I started there then in the winter of '79. And my first job was to get a car ready to go to Florida for Pitzer, because that's Weichert's favorite race car driver. And I got the car ready and went down, and it was non-wing racing at East Bay. So Paul drove it then, and then when we get back, then I was supposed to start racing locally. and that's what we did. And I wrecked a little. I won a little, and it was an interesting education. But what a great guy! I mean, there's nobody like racing more than he did. Uh, he was quite a guy. And then we needed some new stuff because actually the cars were Kenny Weldon built them. So that was 80, and I think the cars were built in 74 and 73.
Ooh.
So they were kind of old cars. And we talked him into building a new Cook car. And Ben was another guy that was really helped me a lot in my career. And young Ben and all the Cooks, they were great people, and they treated me just wonderful. So we got this brand new car built. That was the era of big blocks. So Weichert had some big block stuff. So we built this big block engine, and this was going to be my car that make to get going good. And I remember the hood wouldn't fit. So Henchy got out the saw and cut these big holes in the hood so the valve covers would clear. I mean, it was an awesome looking car. Ben really built a good race car. I had a lot of good years in his stuff, and it was all ready to go. Little did I know, all it needed was Keith Kaufman's name lettered on it, and I went out the door. So that was an opportunity that I never got. So that was it for my Weichert deal. But they were all great people. The whole family treated me really good. I did a little bit of stuff on the farm. I wasn't a farmer, but I'd help them when they needed help, and it was a cool experience. And I still remain friends with Bob. I put my own deal together, I think, in let's see, that was 82, right before I got together with Bill and Jesse Keene, and he loaned me an engine. So that's unheard of. So we remained friends.
Now you mentioned Bill and Jesse Keene. I think that's what the car you're known for the most. Is that for?
What's where I had my best years? Yeah.
Yeah. Through the 80s. How long were you with them?
We ran. It was 6 years. Yeah, 6 years. It was 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, and 87. Yeah, 6 years.
I remember that's when I started going to sprint car racing in 1984. And I remember Stevie Smith Jr. I remember Keith Kaufman in the Hamilton car. I remember you in the 5W. I remember that guy, Doug Wolfgang, coming into town to run the Weichert car. And Maynard Yingst, Lupo, Siegel. You had all these guys.
Yeah.
What was it like running through the 80s there in that stretch when you were in the Keene car? It was brutal. And they had handicapping where they handicap, what was it, 18?
Yeah. Yeah, we used to start. I know Keith and I there for a while. At Williamsboro, we started 11th and 12th. I got tired of starting side of him. He probably got tired of starting side of me. He usually beat me anyway.
But it was intense. And then Wolfgang came into town, and he did well.
A little bit before that was Bobby Davis Jr. in Weichert's car with the big block. That thing was almost unbeatable. I was frustrated.
What was it like? Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show. Appreciate everybody joining us in the chat. Any phone calls we get, before we jump in, because it's going to be a quick night. Planning on going till 9. Maybe I'll leak a little over depending what traffic we have. But we're going to be giving away tickets to the $5 event at BAPS. It's what is that, Eric? What is that event? It's the air aviation event. There we go. It's $5 on the half hour. So it'll be 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I guess we'll go to 9:15 to get that call in. So I told Eric 9, preparing to leave for Florida tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. So again, we'll go with 8, 8:30, and 9. We'll be giving 2 tickets away to the $5 night at Babs Motor Speedway. And let's get going. Sorry, I got a bunch of things going on in my head, so I'll try and clear that out and answer your questions. Did you enjoy the marathon races at Volusia Thursday, Friday, and Monday? I don't know if there were if there were that many modifieds in the country. It's part of Dirt Car Nationals. It's not going anywhere. It's something that we're going to deal with this coming week. Hopefully it speeds up. Obviously, all those features, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, especially maybe what it does to the track. Puts a strain on the track crew, so on and so forth. But we had good racing with the 360s. So if we can have that on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I don't think many people are going to, they're going to care too much about the time. So yeah, I wish it was streamlined a little more. I definitely wish it was streamlined a little more. It's too many modifieds for my liking. Jeremy, with High Limit's recent rule changes, yes. Have you officially won your battle against the work area? It's much improved. If people missed it, High Limit's cutting their work area down to 1 minute for flat tires, no time for the dash. If you take a provisional, no time. If you're not in the lead lap, no time. And the provisionals are also cut down to 2 a night, which I like that as well. So we won't have 30 car fields. But the work area, a lot better. I like the 1 minute. I like it for flats. I wish it was 1 minute across the board. But hey, we got to start somewhere. I'm very happy with the work area getting scaled back. And also, I guess there's no choose cone on the front stretch anymore. Cone be in turn 4. He can't pass until after that. So High Limit, I think, see what works, what doesn't, what people like, what they don't like. And they're making changes accordingly. So kudos to High Limit. You're going to see a World of Outlaws rule change. I'll have it on the 90 at 9 tomorrow. It has to do with seating flights. They made it overly complicated and need to streamline their new rule, but I'll leave that for tomorrow. But yes, I wouldn't say I've won, but I like it a lot better. Let's put it that way. Hopefully people realize the difference between those ship boxes and Northeast modifieds. Yeah, there's a distinct difference between the IMCA modifieds. They used to call them, I remember at Eldora back when I first went in the 80s, they called them ump modifieds. So yes, the IMCA is way different than what a Matt Shepard, Stuart Friesen, Matt Williamson runs in the Northeast. I actually grew up on the modifieds in the Northeast and before transitioning over to Super Sportsman and then Sprint Cars. So yes, huge different. It's not the ones you see at Charlotte during World Finals. Totally different. I'm here for the weekly merch updates. I gave the guy a design, the guy I'm thinking about using. I have not heard back from him yet. So I leave for Florida tomorrow at about 5 a.m. So I don't it's a plane. I'm not driving. And somebody just said there are mods at Volusia. Whatever. They all look the same to me. So yeah, I haven't heard from him yet. Hopefully we'll hear something this week or I'll get a design and we'll move forward with that. So just waiting on the design. What are your top 5 predictions for Woo and High Limit points? Ooh, It's a little early for high limit. World of Outlaws, top 3, Gravel, Kofoid, Carson Macedo, same as last year. We're going to go. Ooh, those 2 spots. 4th and 5th are going to be between 3 drivers. It's going to be Sheldon, Donnie, and Logan. I'm going to go with Sheldon 4th. Man, 5th is tough. I'm going to go Donnie 5th. Okay, high limit. I'm going to take the upset with Reitzel, then Rico. Then, or no, let me rephrase that. No. I'm going to change that. I'm going to jump on the Tyler Courtney bandwagon and take him to win it. And then I'm going to take Reitzel, then Rico. Those could be interchangeable very easily. Then go with Marks. And 5th, Persley. There you go. Do you have a favorite paint scheme so far in 2026? Not really. I don't mind Schatz's because it's kind of the traditional 15 look on it. I don't like the new designs where, and everybody does it. One person came out with a different color around the number, like a square type thing, and then everybody does it. It's very monkey see, monkey do with these things. So I would like to see something different. But as for a favorite, I really don't have a favorite. I kind of like Donnie's. Because it's cleaner on the hood, and I like Ryan Tims's because it just basically has sponsors on it. It's clean. I'm sure the 18 will grow on me. I need to see him in person. So Gravels is pretty much the same. It's pretty close, but that's their colors, and really, what are you going to do with it? So, yeah, it's about it. I mean, I want to see them all before I look at it. Looks like we have the chat only tonight. The phones are not working, so I don't really know what's going on there. Producer Eric passed that along, so I apologize. The phones aren't working. Any word on Bloomsburg Fair Speedway court case? No, I have not heard anything yet. Don't know what's going on there. And the person I have who kind of keeps me up on that hasn't given me an update yet. So I haven't really heard anything. 89 viewers and 7 likes is pathetic. Hit the like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Jeremy's cat chewed the phone cord again. No, she's laying where I sit on the couch. So no, she did not. No, I don't know what it is. Erica will have to work on that. Back to the questions. I can't read. With cold Florida, what is that? I'm sure they want cold Florida has been with how cold. He said hold. With how cold Florida has been recently, it feels like the Dirt Car Nationals should have been in Southern California. They've been in the 80s all week. Hopefully the warmer weather will in Florida. No, it's not going to get warmer. It's going to be about 68 to maybe 72 during the day, but then it drops. It's going to be like the desert where it gets really cold at night. I don't know. I'm actually taking a jacket down, and I'll be in a hoodie each night with a jacket on. Not an overly heavy coat, but it's going to be chilly down there, and it's below sea level. So it's a different type of cold. It almost feels like 10 below in Pennsylvania. So it'd be the coldest Volusia trip that I've been on. If you could only pick one driver out of this group, who will do the best at Volusia? Shots based in Baylog, Hall, or Marks. This may or may not be Group 3 in Corey Nishaw's pool. Hod. I think Hoddenshield's going to win a race. I don't know why. I don't have any. I know he's good at Volusia. He can run up front there. He's won there. I just think this team with Morrison Motors is going to come out of the gate pretty quick. So in that group, I'm taking Hodenshield. With High Limit coming out with their pay details, why do they only have one rookie and World of Outlaws has 4, which is now 5? Your thoughts? The rookies, I think it still goes back to the old World of Outlaws brand. I think these guys growing up, it was all World of Outlaws. I know talking to Scott Petrie, did the Axum story for the website. Dale Klossmeyer has the majority of that team, majority ownership, I guess, and he's an Outlaws guy. That's what he grew up with. And I hear a lot of that. The surprising part to me is some of the teams that have been there. I mean, I get loyalty. I understand loyalty, and that's fine. But from an economical standpoint, High Limit's the better play right now. If you can finish in that top 8, you're going to put your foot in the cash register. It's plain and simple. You're going to have something tangible year in and year out. So I don't really understand why some of the bigger teams haven't made that leap. I would assume it's loyalty. But for the rookies, everything I hear is this is what we grew up on. This is what we're used to. This is the brand. Will that change? I don't know. Look at Eric fixing the phone lines. Look at him. Didn't think he had it in him during the show. Look at him. So we got the phones back. All right, what else do we got? I know it's only 4 races, but who has the most to lose with a bad performance at Volusia? I would say, and this may sound weird, I think Buddy Kofoid, Carson Macedo, because they're chasing gravel. And gravel usually, I mean, he gets out of Volusia really strong, builds a point lead, and with the way the points are for the World of Outlaws, you can kind of, not that he does, but you can sit on it a little bit. And he qualifies so well. So I think Kofoid and Carson Macedo, who are Kofoid more so than Macedo, is a contender for the title. But those two guys have got to perform at Volusia to keep pace with David Gravel. Now, granted, David Gravel can have a bad 4-race stretch. When's the last time that happened? He's a 2-time World of Outlaws champion for a reason. He's always good at Volusia. Times well. I don't expect that to change. So the two guys chasing him got to get out of there with close enough that they can challenge him. Brady Bacon getting off to a good start. Do you think he fares better this year in Central PA? Yeah, I think he does. I think obviously it's his second go around in Central PA with Shawn Michael in that Dyson car. Yeah, I mean, getting off to a good start, it is 360s, but I'm not going to poo-poo it either. It was a decent field. And I think they had some growing pains last year in Central PA. And I talked to Brady about that one night. I believe it was at Path Valley. It might have been the Speed Week show at Path Valley. Just had some growing pains, never really was able to get a foothold here. I think that can change. Jeremy, watch out for the falling iguanas in Florida. Yeah, I know. I've heard about that. I don't need to see that. That's kind of weirded me out, I think. So hopefully they find shelter. Are you going to do a post-race show from Volusia? The internet there is horrible. I'll tell you what. If I'm going to test the internet tomorrow, if I have strong internet, I'll do one. But the internet out in Barberville, it's dicey at best, and I don't want it to cut. I don't want it to cut in and out all night. So I'll if I do one, it'll be Friday, Saturday. So stay tuned. I will put it on social media whether I'm doing one. I've thought about it. I'll check with Eric, and then we'll check out what the service is like. Maybe I can tap into Dirt Visions. Okay. Gay needs to sell everything if only choice is Zach Hampton. I'm assuming you mean Gainey needs to sell everything if the only choice is Zach Hampton. I think there's other choices out there. Bill Rose cars clean, no sponsor, but clean. Yeah, I mean, his cars are always pretty simple. I have no problem with that. I kind of like the simple look. And I'm anxious to see how Casey Jedrzejek does. Passes a lot of cars in Ohio. He's only been in a 410 sprint car for 2.5 years and really doesn't have a ton of experience. So he already has some wins in that region. Anxious to see how he develops. But yeah, Bill Rose, nice clean car. I'd like to see one sponsor on it at least, but we'll see if they can acquire one throughout the season. Did Alan Murray get out of racing, or did him and Marks just have a falling out? As far as sprint car racing, I don't think he's in it at this point. A falling out. I don't know the particulars as far as what went wrong, but he's no longer there, and Logan Fenton is in. So I don't see Alan Murray jumping to another team if what I'm hearing is true. Has the Florida start of the season always been cold and average weather? Not like this. No. I've been down there in a T-shirt at 9, 10 o'clock at night. There's no way I'm going to be doing that this time around. No way. So if the forecast holds with what they're saying it's going to do, I've never been down there when it's been this cold. Now, I'm sure others have, maybe 80s, 90s. I didn't go down at that point, but as far as me going down, this is setting up to be the coldest. Are they using an adjustable shock in high limit and outlaws? I don't know what the outlaws are doing. I know high limit still uses an adjustable shock. I don't think it makes a huge deal. I've never heard anybody get out. I've never heard anybody get out of the car and go, boy, that shock adjuster helped. Never, and nobody's ever alluded to it in an interview. Rico, I mean, they don't even use it. Anthony Macri used it a couple times. So, and Port Royals had that rule. So, I don't think it's a major deal. How about Connor Wade on the mic last night? A vast improvement over what ASCS has. Admittedly, I didn't listen to it. And I had something on and I was doing some other things and I kind of had it on the computer, but I had it on mute. So I didn't hear it. I will definitely listen to it. And I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot that Connor Wade was going to be doing, he was going to be up top. So I'm kind of anxious to hear him. I've never heard him do broadcasting in the booth. Bob on line 2. Bob, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing real good. I was going to tell you, there's a guy from here in Iowa that does a podcast, and they always have this guy named Chris Hassel on that used to be in sportscasting here, and he lives down there in southern Florida now, works for CBS. But he said the state of Florida sent a note out to residents that if you see those iguanas, make sure you kill them, stomp them or something, because they're invasive and they don't want them down there. They want everybody to kill them all. So
why?
Just wear your big boots and get ready to do some stomping.
I'm not squashing iguanas. I'm not doing that.
Look, to be a new sport.
No, that's okay. I'm not going to have a iguana remnants on my sneakers. That's okay.
Did you happen to catch Knoxville Knights yesterday?
No, again, I was tied up with some personal stuff, and I didn't. I had the ASCS on mute, so I mean, I can only do 2 or 3 things at once. So no, I have not listened to it. What was there something on it that stood out, or?
Well, they had Cam Martin on, and he'd been down there running in Volusia, but he's a student at Iowa State, so he could only run.
He had to pull out. He
could only run through Sunday, and he had to catch a flight back home to go to school. And then he said he's catching a flight back down there to run the 410s.
Okay.
But yeah, he was pretty excited about the competition they're going to have this year at Knoxville. He said we got a lot of good.
Yeah, no, I think Knoxville always has a good weekly program, because the other thing with that track, it's a commuter track. So you have guys showing up when high limit's off, guys are going to go there. It's the one place where the Outlaws seem to give a lot of permission. You know, if there's a rained out weekend, you can go there and it won't count against you. So you're always having guys duck in and out to prepare for the Nationals, and you combine that with their local contingent, and you have a pretty good show.
Yeah, he was laughing. He said his brother gave him a trophy because he was the first 410 to flip this year.
Oh, well. I don't know if that's something you want to do.
Yeah.
So,
well, brotherly love.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to put it. All right, Bob.
But
what's up?
Yeah, I really didn't want nothing to have a good time, and I think I'd be interested to see how Gio does down there too.
Gio won't be there.
Oh, he won't?
Nope. He's going to start at Talladega, Short Track, and Magnolia. They're not ready yet for Dirt Car Nationals, so Gio will not be there. Sorry.
Well, I guess I'll just root for the rest of the Iowa boys down there.
There you go. All right, Bob.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the call.
All right. You take care. Appreciate you calling. We're about 5 minutes away from the Babs Motor Speedway Eagle Air Aviation $5 Keystone Nationals giveaway. It's on June 7th. Call in, get 2 tickets free. Eric will take your name and the tickets will be sent out to you. All right, let's get back to the chat. Since you're wearing your Blackhawks sweatshirt tonight, and hey, they beat the Sharks last night. Sweatshirt tonight, and any chance that you wear your Blackhawk leather? Oh, come on. I shouldn't even read that one. 0.0. Thoughts on Woo's new way of seeding qualifying flights for 2026? Okay. I was waiting for somebody to bring it up. Doesn't surprise me. Chase did. Way complicated. I talk about it on the 90 at 9 tomorrow. I'm going to leave my thoughts for there, but it's way too complicated. To me, it looks like they wanted to follow high limit, but not admit they're following high limit, put their own twist on it, and then I don't. It just got too complicated. The way I like that they're seating their flights. If it's 38 cars or more, they'll seat them. But instead of just going odds and evens and using some kind of rankings like SprintCarRatings.com to do your non-platinum teams or whatever, they have 4 scenarios, and there's a lot of it's way too complicated. If it takes 9 paragraphs and four scenarios to explain it, you probably should do it differently. I'll leave it go at that. Can anyone beat Emerson Axum for Rookie of the Year? Scott Boguski, maybe? No. I think it'll be Axum, Torgerson, Boguski, Theo, and then Jedrzejek. In that order. But we'll see. Cole Macedo Outlaw wins over under 2.5. Under. I like it. I like the odds. Was fun chatting Rumor Mill this past weekend. Ah, yes. The old Rumor Mill. Anytime. Yeah, it was Racing Extravaganza. Pretty good show. In case you missed it, it was good to get out there. High Limit Rules release says they're not changing anything for the double file restarts. They would imply the choose cone stays. That would imply the choose cone stays. They said no cone on the front stretch. That's where the choose cone was. So maybe the choose cone is staying, but they don't say it. That is a little murky. Maybe Chase Rodman can clear that up. Are they going to have, is the choose cone gone? Look, I was so focused on the work area, nothing else mattered. So if Chase, I know Chase is in there. If Chase could kind of clear up, are we going double file restart still? Or is there a choose cone? Appreciate it, Chase. Deep dive with Gary Wright. It's a good suggestion. I'll write it down. The guy I wanted to get last week, it didn't happen. I gotta start banking these, so when a guy doesn't get back to me, I can just roll one out. That's on me. That's my fault. I need to do a better job with that. So I'm going to start banking these, and Gary Wright will definitely make the list. There's a couple guys in California, so we'll see. Sorry, I got a text. Do you see a Woo high limit? What? Do you see a Woo high limit at what merger in the next 5 years? Is that what that means? Got to complete sentences, guys. I'm guessing here. If that's what you mean, I don't see that. Not in the next 5 years. How many teams have signed with high limit for 2026? Could we see some of the Woo teams shift after Volusia? There's 14 with high limit right now, which is a good number. These series are not built for 17 cars like the World of Outlaws have. The tow money, when you go to areas like Central PA, California, just can't make any money. Those last 3 guys are going to struggle to make ends meet. These series are built from 13 to 15 cars max. When it comes to tow money, it comes to obviously prize money in fields, making fields. I think 17 is just too many, but it's what they have. Could have another. I mean, if TJ Stutz after Volusia decides to go that direction, I don't know if he will. I have my doubts, especially with 17 guys out there. But if he's down at Volusia, I'll talk to him there. It's just not. So high limit at 14. Do I think guys will flip? Probably not. Probably not. If you don't flip in the offseason, I don't know why you would after Volusia just because you didn't do well. It just seems like counterproductive. I just don't see that. Single file restarts, the cone that was attached to a rope will no longer be used. Will be a cone in the infield, turn 4, where you restart the race. There will still be a choose cone on double files. Got it. Fair enough. So we do have double file restarts up until a point. We do have a choose cone for double files, but when it goes single file, there'll be no cone with a rope. There'll be a cone in turn 4. Got it. And kudos to the work area. We can scale it back more. That'd be even better yet. Congrats to our 8 p.m. winner, James Schneck. Is that any relation? No. Won two tickets to Babs Motor Speedway, Eagle Air Aviation $5 Keystone Nationals. Takes place on June 7th. I think it's going to be a good event. $5. You don't get that for a full-blown 410 sprint car race very often. All right, Will on line 4. Will, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jeremy?
Just trying to get everything together to leave for Florida.
Well, my question of this week is I keep hearing all these press releases, high limit, World of Outlaws, high limit, World of Outlaws. Why it seems like all the drivers that are coming on tour this year for the first time or in the first time in a while are choosing the Outlaws. Why is that?
I think it's name recognition. I think these owners are still, we grew up on the Outlaws. It's the brand that's been around since 1978. I just think it's that. I think it's as simple as that. I also don't think people understand the money end of it. Now, for a team that's, your 14th, 15th, 16th team, it doesn't really matter anyway, because you wouldn't get a franchise. You got to be in the top 8. Now, Emerson Axum, I could see him flirting with the top 8 and getting a franchise, depending, obviously how he performs. But to me, it's just the name. It's as simple as the name. And I think that down the road, there's going to be some teams regretting that they didn't go high limit racing. I know one team that I won't mention. I know one car owner who regrets it now, who didn't go high limit racing at the beginning. And it's a big team. So I think you're going to see that start to kind of hit these teams the next 2, 3, 4 years when the money really jumps. And guys are, it's just, I just think that's what it's going to be. I know somebody already called me a homer. No, it's called economics. It's economics. It has nothing to do with a homer. It's economics. These teams are expensive. So I think it's just as simple as the World of Outlaws has been around longer.
Well, to me, from the couch here in my living room, it appears to me that high limit is putting out the red carpet, trying to get teams. I'm not sure if they're paying more money at the end of the year or during the year, but they sure do have a lot of races that are on, and they're high-paying races, but the Outlaws do too. I just, the name recognition that makes sense. It just seems to me that high limit is offering a whole lot more than the Outlaws, and or the newer teams aren't taking advantage of it.
I know that if you're a high limit team, you can run seven 6-figure paydays during the year. If you're with the Outlaws, you can run 4. That's it. I mean, that's you can run. Well, I lie. You can run 5. So it's 5 to 7. Because you can still run Joker's Jackpot, which is 100. So you run Knoxville Nationals, Eldora, the 2 at Huset's, and Joker's Jackpot. But you can't run Gold Cup, you can't run Skagit Nationals, and you can't run the Weichert, where high limit guys can. They can run all those Outlaws events plus those other 3. So it's 7 to 5. As for the franchise, I mean, look, it's all been put out. You know, I know a year ago at this time, people were like, oh, let's see it first. Okay, well, then we saw it. They put it out, and now it's guys are already are getting, the guys are going to get their money. So it's just economics. That's it. I look at economics because years down the road, who won a championship? That's great. And once you win one, you're fine. But does anybody talk about Brad Sweet anymore?
No.
Do they talk about him winning 5 titles? Not really.
No.
There's people out there who don't know who Steve Kinzer is and don't know what he did. It's unfortunate.
Well, that's sad.
Well, it's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. That time moves on. The younger generation comes up.
Yeah.
They don't have a sense of history. So again, look, the Outlaws have a great product. I like the World of Outlaws events. I think they have a good series. I don't think everybody should move over to high limit, but I'm really surprised that you didn't have anybody jump. That just perplexes me.
Well, I agree with that because I figured for sure Hodenschild was gonna jump with all the problems he's been having with the officials the last couple of years.
No,
I figured he was jumping, but
Nos.
he didn't.
Nos.
Oh, well, I guess that's a big dollars.
Yeah, Nos.
But I do agree with you on something that we're not talking about. Get rid of that work area. This is not NASCAR. This ain't Formula One. This is sprint car racing. Sprint, small, short race.
You know what? Look, I'm going to take the win that it's down to a minute for a flat time. I'm going to just be happy with that. We're moving in the right direction. I'm going to take that. So.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking my call, Jeremy. We'll talk to you down the road.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Will. Daryl on line 5. Daryl, how are you?
I'm good, Jeremy. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. Just trying to get everything done.
Did you ever research Stockton, California?
I've had a lot of people reach out to me about it. And I was talking to somebody today, and they said the one positive is that once you get on the fairgrounds, you're pretty insulated. I guess you have to go pretty deep into the fairgrounds to get to the track. I don't know, but I haven't been there. Maybe some California guys. Daryl, are you from California?
Yeah, I'm from Redding, California.
Okay.
I grew up with Chase's dad and uncle, and back in the 90s, me and Chase's uncle went there for a Southwest Tour race because Chase's uncle was a badass driver. We lost him a few years ago, but great guy. And I'm telling you one thing, after the Southwest Tour race, we went to a restaurant and like 5 or 6 of those Bloods and Crips came in. We were like, we're out of here. We're never coming back here again.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't
hang out in Chico.
Look, I'm not going. I don't need that in my life.
Well, go to Chico. Chico's a great track.
Okay.
And when you go to Florida, stay the hell away from the iguanas. They're not going to bother you.
Yeah, I look, I'm not stepping on iguanas. No way. I never heard of such a thing. So
I don't know where he got that from, but just leave the iguanas alone.
everybody has a different news outlet they listen to. I'm going to let it go at that.
Are you going to come to California, you think, this year?
Everything's up in the air right now. I might
Okay.
not. We're putting our plans together. It looks like I am going to Vegas. I need some things to fall into place here over the next 2-3 weeks, and I'll know more then. I want to.
Well, if you come to Chico, I've been going there since 1976. I love the place. It's a great race. I remember hanging out with Kinsers and Howdenchild. They just park in the, parking lot out there and camp with you. Is just a great time. So if you make it out, try and go to the Gold Cup because it's a really good show.
Well, I will. It's definitely on my list. That and Skagit, and I'd kind of like to see Tulare too. So we'll see if we can get out there.
That's a bull ring.
Yep. We'll see if we can get
You
out
betcha.
there.
And the guy that fixed the telephone lines, you better give him a couple extra bucks this month.
I will definitely do that. I actually owe him a little cash. I didn't give him his January check yet. I'll get that to him.
All right, Jeremy. Have a great night, buddy. I hope you make it out to California.
Thank you very much, Daryl. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Look at Eric getting a lot of props. I could see his head getting bigger in the screen down there. Soon it'll be popping off. No, he does a great job. Thoughts on some of the lesser known drivers at Volusia this past weekend? I was impressed by Tyler Clem. Yeah, that Will Gastineau kind of stuck out to me more so than even Clem. So it's a guy I'm going to keep an eye on. Looked like he performed well. He was in the mix, made a couple dashes, I believe. So Will Gastineau jumped off the page. That's probably the guy who impressed me the most out of the big names. And honestly, I know Brady Bacon's a big name. I didn't expect him to do what he did. So I was impressed by Brady Bacon as well. I know he's a bigger name, but I didn't expect that out of him. Rodman did his Woo points predictions today. He has a new champion. Let me guess, Buddy Kofoid? I would assume. I mean, it's not if Buddy Kofoid would win the title, I wouldn't be like, oh my God. But I have him winning it in 2027. I'm already done with my prediction for next year. How many teams have signed with High Limit for 20? We already did that. I think, or could we? Yeah, we already did that one. 14 teams. Will Georgetown Speedway get a World of Outlaws show in 2027 with improvements that they are doing? I think that's a stretch in Delaware. I don't know what the fan base, I think that would be a concern. Plus, oversaturation in kind of that Northeast region. They do worry about that stuff with each region, how many races they get in each. I don't think Georgetown's going to be the top track on the list, even with the improvements. I could see them going back to Lincoln for a second date, Central Pennsylvania in October. I could see that, depending on kind of how their schedule lays out. But we'll see. I mean, you never know where the Outlaws are going to show up year to year. For just this season, which is most likely to happen? Buddy winning a crown jewel, Gravel not winning the championship, or Donnie in the top 3 in points at the end of the season? Which is most likely to happen? Buddy win a crown jewel. I think Gravel wins the title. Donnie, top 3, that's a bit much. Because he's going to have to beat Gravel, Buddy, or Carson Macedo, and they win double digits. So I'd say the most likely out of that is Buddy winning a crown jewel. Won't be Eldora, but sometimes he's really good at Knoxville, and then he's won at Williams Grove. So I could see that. Hagerstown should be on one of the national tour schedules. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like going down there for Speed Week. Nice facility, track race as well. Can sometimes be a little quick, but they're cutting back their schedule. So I don't see that happening. Their schedule's been scaled back from past seasons, and it just seems like it's more and more. So I would be surprised if we see a national tour there. I remember the Outlaws there, man. That was really good. Not a lot of buzz on the new pairing at SJMR. What is your season expectations for the 17? I think he can win a race, maybe 2 races even. Pruitt, it seemed like he's better than advertised. He showed that at the end of last season. 2 wins is my over-under. Somebody asked me if everybody's getting more wins, where are they coming from? Well, remember, 16 races were won by non-regulars last year. I think that number drops. So I wouldn't be surprised if the 17 wins 2 races. What's the better nickname, the North Pole Nightmare or no, it's North Pole Nightmare. That's not even close. Can you tell the track promoters to add backs on all seats? My dad was complaining for weeks about about his back after I took him to the Grove. The bring your own cushions aren't good enough. I mean, that's a big expense. I mean, I understand. I think I understand, but that's a huge expense. And I think these tracks have other stuff that probably takes precedent. And I just don't see unless they get some stands from a high school or because they're remodeling football stadiums all the time for high schools in the area, maybe get something there, but I don't see the Grove doing that. Connor did a good job. Martin boys did great. I hope the 410s run as well as the 360s. Very impressive track surface. I agree. I thought Volusia looked really good. I know it rubbered up the one night, but it's still, you could move around a little bit and guys were in different spots. So I'm hoping for the same thing, because with the cold weather, my concern was that it would just be a dyno session. And it seems even with the cold temperatures over the weekend and with the 360s, that wasn't the case. So I'm very pleasantly surprised, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the 410s do at Volusia, because that place can race very well. I've seen Donnie win from 15th there. It's got to slick off a little bit. And if it does that, I think we could see some good racing. I drove past Stutz's shop Sunday afternoon, and his hauler was covered in a foot of snow. So I don't know if he's going to be in Florida. That's a good point. Unless he's using a different hauler, but I wouldn't think so. I don't think he has more than one. But yeah, he might have scrapped that. Dave on line 6. Dave, how are you?
Hey, Jeremy. Hope you get a little better racing temperatures there, besides something out of the 20s to watch sprint cars down there in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a jacket today to go down, so a lighter jacket and I'll put a hoodie under it, and we'll be good to go.
Last year, High Limit runs some shows without support class.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of down here in Southern Ohio, and they run the Lawrenceburg program over there, and I heard there was some rumblings that, you know, people was coming in there at 6 o'clock and they was going home before it got dark. Personally, me, I like Sprint Car Only show. What about yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course, I like a sprint car only show, and that's one of the things with High Limit. They want to get you the sweet spot for them. It seems to be between 9 and 9:30 to get done. But yeah, they don't do a lot of support divisions, and when they do, it's either invitation only or they're scaled down in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, I think that's one of the initiatives of High Limit. I know the World of Outlaws try and do the same thing. I know obviously that's tough in California for some reason at times and in some other areas of the country, but really both national series like to focus on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's about all I got, Jeremy. I'm going to say if Buddy Kofoid comes out of the gate swinging, it might be an interesting year this time around.
I think Buddy will be closer than he was last year. I definitely believe that. I think they're ready to go, and it'll be interesting to see what happens at Volusia. So thanks a lot for calling. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, we're closing in on another Eagle Air Aviation $5 giveaway. Baps, is it Brian Brown with is it Brian Brown with regrets? I don't know what that means. Did you ever in your life see Grandview get a live race on live TV? I certainly never saw that coming. No. If you would have told me live races in central Pennsylvania, I would have said Port Royal. Agreed. I never would have guessed Grandview, but here we are. It's going to be a racy joint. I mean, it's a racy joint. I'll give them that. And I'm anxious to see what the numbers are for that. But yeah, no, I would have never guessed Grandview, not on live TV. In fact, I don't think Bob Miller knew about it. I called him to ask him questions about it, and he didn't even know it yet. So I think I think he was even in the dark. Do you think the history of other series trying to compete with the Outlaws and then folding has made it a little nerve-wracking for owners to make a jump to High Limit? Maybe. The only difference is, and look, I'm not in their shoes, but if you can't see the difference, I that's perplexing as well. But that might have something to do with it. I mean, USA really, that was going to be short term no matter what. And then, of course, you have Brownfield dying, which killed the NST deal. But some say that was going to happen anyway, meaning the Outlaws were just going to buy them out. This is different, though. I mean, you have Flow Racing behind this, and I think that automatically gives it staying power. Flow's not going anywhere. And it's going to be interesting to see kind of how this develops over the next couple of years, because I don't know if there's more than one guy who can finish in the top 8 and earn a franchise with High Limit the next 2 years. So that means they're going to have 4 at their disposal to either sell or do something else with. And it's going to be interesting as this develops. Do some of these bigger teams look at the money that's on the other side of the aisle and make the jump? So I think it's going to be a 2-3 year process. I'll be here with my popcorn. 82 likes. Let's get it done. Actually, 82 is not bad at 826. We're 4 minutes away from another giveaway. Eagle Air Aviation $5 sprint car race at Baps Motor Speedway, June 7th. Call into Eric and get 2 free tickets. The Outlaws should give Baps another show. Good place. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm a big fan of Baps, how it races, the configuration. I'm a big fan of Baps. I wouldn't mind 2 races there or a 2-day show, something like that. I think this $5 race could put them on the map even more so than they are. And I think they're doing the best promoting job in central Pennsylvania by far. I was asking if Brian Brown was the team that was regretting not going high limit from the beginning. No. Bigger team. Let me rephrase that. From a results standpoint, what would you rather get rid of, work area or provisionals? Oh, come on. I have to choose. I want to get rid of both of them. You know what? Provisionals. The work area, as High Limit has it now, I can live with. They scaled back on it. They put restrictions on it. I can handle that. Provisionals, I have no time for them at all. So I'd rather get rid of provisionals. Good question. Do you think Cy Lynch picks up a win on tour this year? I think Cy Lynch is going to be a lot better. I think Heath Moyle adds a lot to that team, a lot of experience on the road. I could see him coming in and making a few changes, maybe tweaking a few things. Getting a win, that's tough. I think he can, especially when they roll into Lernerville. So I'm going to say he gets 1. I could see him getting 1 win this year. But I definitely think they'll be faster on the regular, and I do think they'll have better overall performances. We raced at Georgetown, Delaware, along with Del Mar and even the Harrington Horse Track. I believe it was unsanctioned, attracting the Central PA cars. I believe it was the early 90s. Yeah, they used to go down there. I can't, and I apologize, I just can't recollect who won and how many cars went. I think they didn't get a big car count, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least the last time they didn't, that kind of ended it. So I just can't remember where exactly it was or how many cars they got. Johnny Gibson keeps the World of Outlaws sounding regional and amateur. Wow, Sugar Bear's just, Jesus. Whew. That's unmerciful. All right, what else do we got? What are you doing, Eric? Oh, he's giving me the 1 minute sign. Oh, Dave on line 8.
Okay.
Dave, how are you?
Good. How are you tonight?
Not too bad.
I hope you take enough warm clothes to Florida because it doesn't look good. You know?
No, I'll be okay.
My question is to you, Jeremy. I'd like to know what happened to Craig Kinzer. He just fell off the circuit. Was it sponsorships that he couldn't get anymore?
No, I just think things weren't going well, and I just think he gave it up. Now, I've heard rumors that he might return. They're unsubstantiated. Meaning I haven't heard anything concrete. There was some said he went to Australia because he was with his wife, and then he came back. So I'm not really 100% sure what his status is right now. And I think the further these guys get away from the sport, they quote unquote, like a boxer, they get civilized. And I just think they don't come back. I don't think I'm going to see Zeb Wise come back. So I think these guys just get out of the sport. Things aren't going well or whatever. And then that's it. I think they just call it a career.
Well,
What's up, Dave?
Yeah, well, I was wondering because somebody won the Knoxville Nationals should have a lot easier chance of coming down with a sponsorship somehow.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. That was 20 years ago. I mean,
No, it wasn't 20 years ago.
That Craig Kinzer won the Knoxville Nationals.
Yeah, I don't think it was 20 years ago.
Well,
it was, and he's only in his 30s yet. I don't know what age in the 30s, but he's only in his mid 30s.
He won the Knoxville Nationals 20 years ago. It was 2005.
Was it? Boy, time flies by.
And he's 41.
Yeah.
He's
41. Is that what he is now?
Yeah,
wow.
He's 41. Time flies.
Yeah, who does it ever?
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, Jeremy. Thank you for answering my question as good as you could.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. What do we got? Congrats to our 830 winner, Tammy Gutshaw. She's won 2 tickets to the Babs Motor Speedway's Eagle Air Aviation $5 Keystone Nationals on June 7th. And we have one more giveaway at 9 o'clock. And we'll go to 9:15 tonight. I got a pack. Let's go racing. Yeah, boy. Billy Dietrich. Billy Dietrich had a good deep dive with him. Very entertaining. I don't think he's going to Volusia, though. Who in sprint car racing would you not be surprised to find in the Epstein files? What are we doing? Only Sugar Bear. I could say probably more than one name. Come on now. Jesus. All went downhill that fast. Damon on line 10. Damon, how are you?
Hi, Jeremy. I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm still.
How come the World of Outlaws only run 25 laps?
What's that?
How come the World of Outlaws only run 25 laps?
Oh, they run 30 and 35 too sometimes. It all goes by track size.
Well, like Weed Sport.
That's a big track.
They only run 25 at Weed. Weed Sport's not big.
Well, to them, look, they just.
I mean, they go to shorter tracks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the size of the track for them, and that's what they set it at. Could be tires. I think tires is another thing that comes into consideration. Tire wear. I know Weed Sport's really dry slick. In fact, probably redefines the term dry slick. And it could be tire wear too.
Yeah. And I heard that you grew up from Northeast. I'm in Northeast myself, so.
Yeah, Central Pennsylvania. I went to, but I've been to New York. I've been to Eastern States. Been to Syracuse for the modifieds. Orange County obviously was not Orange County now, but Orange County years ago. Now it's mostly 410 sprint car racing. So
yeah, that's cool. My weekly track is Thunder Mountain.
Oh, Mike Mallett then. Mike Mallett from Dirt Track Digest.
Yeah, I was talking to him last night.
Yeah, Mike's a good egg. I like Mike.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you.
No problem, Damon. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Doug on line 19. Doug, how are you?
Good. Great show, Jeremy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
From Michigan. I'm actually from Michigan, and our family owned a racetrack in the 60s and 70s. It was actually called Manchester Speedway. If you ever get a chance, go on a Facebook page. There's a lot of good content there. It was Manchester on Friday and Butler on Saturday. I'm sure you heard of Butler.
Yes.
So a couple things I wanted to talk about is each of these two series, I think each one of the two major, the High Limit and World of Outlaws, should have their own flagman. And I'm going to tell you why I think that is. One, I was at Butler right by the trailer when the flagman came up to the trailer, told the lady he was the flagger, and she just gave him a shirt and he walked away.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually look at that, if Sweet would have got his points for third in that race, that would have been a little different coming down to the very end at the end of the year.
Agreed.
And I think with, until something happens, something where the big money gets, to the wrong person, the laps get miscounted, there's a issue with a wreck or something. I just think how big the sprint car has gotten. At least these two series should, I think they should have their own flagman. And I think, and so there won't be an issue down the road.
I agree with you.
What do you think about that, Jeremy?
Absolutely. I agree with you. I think having a traveling flagman, they know the rules. They know obviously the drivers, the teams involved. I think they're more in touch with the rule book, night in and night out, the different nuances between tracks. And I just think it would be a more streamlined, better show with a consistent flagman. So, and I think the drivers will know the tendencies of the flagman as well. So I think from a communication standpoint, rules, and really everything involved, I think both series should have a traveling flagman with them.
Because it just seems to me, when I was literally standing there by the trailer 2-3 hours before the race, and it just seems like when the flagmen came to the trailer, they would have said, well, we want to get you with, meeting up with Mike Hess and talking things over. All she did was ask him what shirt size he needed.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And so, I agree with you.
And like I said, I think if Sweet would have got the points for third, I think he would have won the title almost.
No, I'm not going to go that.
Look at it.
I'm not going to go that far. I think I forget he got credited. I think with it might have been 10th or something like that. No, but it would have been a lot closer. And for all the people who think he got preferential treatment, he got jobbed on that one. He got screwed out of points there. So yeah, no, I agree with you. It definitely would have been closer coming down the stretch.
Yeah, you can't let that happen at a high limit race or a World of Outlaw. And hopefully, they'll get their flagmen. But as far as, World of Outlaws, high limit, for me, I only go to the big races, and it's great for me. I'm glad that, because instead of going to maybe 5 or 6 a year within like 3 hours, now I can go to 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Big races, just because of the two series.
Yeah, no, I think there's going to be people who like it and people who don't. Some people think it dilutes the product. I really don't. As long as you have good guys on both series, I don't know how many of those guys would run a national tour. I think you'd have a few, but I don't think it would be that huge. So I'm okay with it. I like both series. I think they both can coexist in some way, shape, or form. And I think obviously I think the sport is growing because High Limit has forced the Outlaws to up their game, whether it be pay or the new rules or whatever it is. So I'm good with it all the way around.
Okay, great show, Jeremy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate all your content.
All right. Take care, and thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. What do we got? Did you get to watch the outdoor game in Tampa the other night? I went and was the craziest game I've seen live. Yeah, I did get a chance to see some of it, and it's hockey, baby. I think hockey is just getting better and better. I like the rules. I like this stadium deal they got going. I think the playoffs are going to be great. I don't probably won't see much of it tonight. I know Edmonton plays again tonight. I love watching Edmonton. They could score a ton. So no, yeah, it was good to watch, and I just like everything Gary Bettman and the NHL are doing right now. With the PA Sprint Series, are races that are rained out, made up, or scratched with 43 races this season? It's 47, 37 of them are point races. No, as far as I know, as of now, if they're rained out, they're rained out. Now, I guess they could change it, much like, say, the Outlaws are high limit. If you get too many rained out, you're going to want to reschedule them. So I think it's going to depend on the weather and how many get banged out. As of now, 47 races is the series. 37 of them are point races, and none rescheduled unless need be. Have you heard anything about a potential title sponsor for High Limit? Yes, I have. I hope to have something on it soon. That's as much as I'm going to say. Sorry. Who's your pick for the Super Bowl and the NASCAR race tomorrow? NASCAR race, I have no idea. It's Bowman Gray, so that who knows what's going to happen there. Eric's better to ask that. He handicaps that stuff. As far as the Super Bowl, I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Patriots defense is really good. I mean, they spent $360 million in contracts in the offseason. People forget that. They didn't get a lot of publicity for that, but that's what they spent. They needed to, and they spent it on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't think Seattle's going to go in there and just run them over. That's just too easy of a play. I think Vrabel, I do think Seattle wins, but I think it's a field goal, maybe 3 to 5 points, which that's where the spread's sitting. So I think it's 4.5, if I'm not mistaken, depending what app you're on. I like Seattle to win, but a narrow margin. Santos on line 20. Santos, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Jeremy?
Not too bad.
Two things for you real quick. I won't take too much of your time. First things first. I'm not sure if you touched on it, and if you did, I do apologize. I just tuned in. The traveling rumor, and including from what you were saying, were you at all surprised that Nas fully sponsored the KCP 18?
No,
when they unveiled the car.
No. I heard that they were going to be involved in some way. I thought it would be kind of like an associate deal, and I don't know how much money they've given either. I mean, none of us really know. But no, I knew they were going to be on the car. I just didn't know how much.
Yeah, no, I mean, from everything that I had seen and heard, and including from the previous shows, from what previous people would ask, I kept hearing like an associate sponsor. I had thought maybe just like the hood, like being on the hood or something. So I was personally shocked, but it's definitely cool to see them involved. Like that's what, the 17, the 18, the 7BC, and the Wyndham 7 car.
Yeah,
like that's a lot of money. Plus the title sponsor for the Outlaws. Like the sport is much better with them in it. Second thing being, it was released today, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on Port Royal officially released their season seats aspects of it, with the the whole basically having to double down on your seats twice for the marquee for the final nights of the Tusky 50 weekend and the Riker Memorial weekend.
Yeah,
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Look, it's not fan friendly, and at some point tracks are going to have to start looking at their pricing, because I think you're going to see them price people out. The racing community, and look, it's not that the prices are too high. Now you're talking about Port Royal where you have to kind of pay double, so to speak. Yeah, it's just fans don't take well to that. And it's not fan friendly.
Well,
simple.
Yeah, I mean, I know they tried it last year and received a bunch of backlash
Yeah.
over it, and then they kind of like retracted and walked it back.
Yep.
So I was very surprised to see them roll it out again. And it's just, you know, on paper, you know, Williams Grove is 80 a seat, but, you know, they offer their season renewals at
Right.
darn near 50% off.
Right.
So which is very fan friendly. So I have no idea how that's going to work out, but I know I was not a fan of it to see them roll it out, because I'll be the first one to tell you, I had six season seats and the season pass, and now I only have 3 season seats there. So I'll be curious to see what the fan feedback is. I was just curious to hear your feedback
It's not going to be good.
Reaction, I guess.
It's not going to be good. And I'm really surprised they rolled it out again. I saw they did that. And it's not fan friendly. I can tell you, I've heard the word greed thrown around. This isn't me. This is what fans are saying. And they're your customers. And what's going to start happening here is there's going to be a threshold that fans will pay to get into events. And I have to wonder if we're close to that threshold. So while $40 to get into an entertainment event isn't bad. If you go to an NHL game, you go to an NFL game, you go to a concert, but race fans are used to certain ticket prices. And I have to wonder, at what point do fans say, I'm not going anymore? Or I'm not going to pay that. So I worry that with it not being fan friendly, and we're kind of getting away from that a little bit with these prices, that it's going to bite these tracks. It's going to bite these tracks, and fans just aren't going to go.
Have you heard any reason as to why they doubled down on it this year?
I've not.
Has that kind of been hush hush?
Yeah, no, I just think they rolled it out.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall to know the thought process behind it, because I don't outside of, you know, guaranteeing their, you know, like if someone has, I don't know, 10 reserve seats and they only use 5 of them, well, that's 5 seats that they could, you know, get money out of, which is what they're doing now. But
right.
If that's the only reason, then that's I don't feel like that's hitting the right market, but to each their own, and we'll see how it rolls out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's something maybe I ask Steve O'Neill down in Florida. I know he's down there now, and maybe when I see him, I'll ask him about it just to get an answer. So, but yeah, it's not fan friendly, and it's not being well received.
Well, I appreciate you taking my call.
Anytime.
Always enjoy the shows, and safe travels. See you down in Florida. Have fun.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it, Santos. Jeremy, pick one week only to attend. Speed Week, Eldora Kings Royal Week, or Knoxville Nationals Week. Eldora Kings Royal Week. It's my favorite week of the year. I like all of them. I'm a guy who likes premier events. You know, the weekly shows, and they get taxing sometimes just because they're the same thing. I love weeks like all 3 of those, but Kings Royal Week is my favorite. Now that all the rosters are finalized, does High Limit or Woo seem stronger this year, and why? I think, man, it's close. And even Emerson Axum, when I talked to him for the story on SprintCarUnlimited.com, said they're very, very close. I would say the Outlaws have the 2 best drivers in the sport. Kofoid and Gravel, Kofoid, however you want to say it. And I think Carson Macedo is in that top 5. I think if he went to High Limit, he'd win the points. However, I think High Limit might be a little deeper. So I think it's, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how Sheldon performs. There's a lot of questions with both series, with the teams. A lot of turnover, a lot of changes. You know, KKR with Pursley, how's that going to develop? Hod and Shield with KCP Racing, how's that turn out? shots with CJB, Geo coming onto the scene, crew changes with Brent Marks, Rico going to TSR. There's a lot of moving parts. So it's hard to kind of handicap what these teams are going to look like. But one thing I do know, David Gravel and Buddy Kofoid are the two best in the sport. I think High Limit's a little deeper though. So I think it's a push. I think it's very close. National tours should not have show-up points. If you sanction a race, should be full points. It separates the men from the boys. I'm not going to disagree with that. I'd be okay with full points. The only time I don't want full points is if it's a split field, like the first two nights of Gold Cup or the qualifying nights at the Knoxville Nationals. As long as the full field shows up, it should be full points. The full field racing. That's my only requirement. Any chance of the Grove moving the cars, haulers out of the front stretch pits? No, but I wish they would. We saw that when they had that rain. It was a couple years ago, and they moved them out, and it was great. I think they could run their time trials so much better, which would help their outlaw shows from or any time trial shows where they're on the back stretch. I think it would help them tremendously. I wish they could clear out all that turn 2, turn 1, or really turn 2 brush, make the pit area bigger back there, get the haulers out of there, and I think it'd be great. Jeremy, how early is your flight? I'll be at the airport about 5:30. I fly out at 7, go to Boston, and then Boston down to Florida. I don't understand the whole Harrisburg to Boston, then south, but airlines do what they do. I arrive at Orlando at 12:54. How about the Pens and Hawks last week? Tell you what, how about the Penguins looking really good? On a little bit of a streak here. But yes, any hockey's good. Speaking of Craig Kinzer, have you heard anything about the Premier Motorsports 70 car? Did they get out of the sport? Yeah, I think they liquidated a lot of stuff. I think they're down to a few motors now, I've heard, but I'm unsure. I don't know if you'll see that car again. If teams choose to run the PA Posse Sprint Car Series only to save their equipment for the series, who runs the other shows? And that's a good point. How does this affect the regular weekly show? I don't think we know yet. And I think that's a real concern. That's a real concern. Because if you're saving your equipment for the big shows, or I should say those series shows plus your sanction shows, because we have 17 of those in the area, and that doesn't even include the All-Stars, your weekly shows could be really bad. And same with fans. It's not just competitors. Do fans save their money for the series races and the sanction shows and just don't go to the regular shows? Or do they go to the regular shows because they can see the same guys theoretically and not pay more to go to the series races? It's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. I think I assume Carson Macedo later regrets not going to High Limit. He does not make the decision. He does not make the decision. High Limit sponsored by Jeremy Elliott, Sprint Car Limited. No. No. I need to sell a lot more subscriptions and get a lot more YouTube views to even think about something like that. $75,000 hockey fans at Penn State this past weekend. That's a big crowd. Yes, it's a huge crowd. Good to see. again, I like these novelties. I think they do it the right way. I don't think they're gimmicky either. Like the ice isn't different. I mean, everything's just the only thing that's different is the venue. So they don't go crazy with it and gimmick it up. So I like that. Jeremy, will Gravel have the season won by August? No one can stop him. No. I do not think he'll have it locked up by August. I think he's going to have to do some work in September and October. Jeremy, which PA cars will qualify for every show in Florida? Macri, Marks. Danny's hard to predict because if Danny doesn't time well, he'll just load up. So that's the one thing with him. And I don't blame him for it. Chase Dietz. I'm going to say Macri and Marks. What is the scoop on what all cars are? What is the scoop on what cars will be following the PA series? Oh, I think you could see Matt Campbell, Troy Wogman, Freddie Raymer. I haven't heard, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did because you get 3 mulligans and you have rainouts. I think Lance DeWeese probably thinks about it. I think Doug Hamaker, obviously in the 22 car, because J&S Classics sponsors it. I think you could have maybe 7. I think more than originally thought. I think dropping the Speed Week shows from the points helped. I also think rainouts are going to help. It's less races then. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I think 7, something like that. Jeremy, why doesn't World of Outlaws try to get die-cast toys in stores again like the 90s? I collected them all. That's a good question. I couldn't even tell you. Maybe they didn't sell well. I mean, if it makes money, they do it. So that's kind of if something makes money, you continue to do it. They're not doing it, so I'm assuming they did make money or enough money. Trust me, if I knew I could make $5,000 on merch, I'd have it out already. All right, it's your time to call for a chance to win tickets to Baps Motor Speedway Eagle Air $5 Keystone Nationals taking place on June 7th. Waiting on one call, you can win 2 tickets. We're going to 9:15 tonight, and I got to roll. I think the PA series is just a front for eventually to eliminate weekly racing in the region. I'm not going to go that far. They do it. It does. It is to get the tracks to work together. That is the original thought behind it. Now, does that mean because of that, do weekly shows go away? I think that's very possible. Do the tracks secretly want that? Here's the problem with that. If you cut back races, you're going to have to cut down on your advertising prices. There's always a ramification for doing something. And if you're selling 30 races to an advertiser, and now you cut it to 20, that advertiser is not going to pay the same for 20 as he did 30. So again, I do believe there's a sweet spot. I don't know what it is. And if it does eliminate weekly shows, they got to be careful because it could hurt advertising in the long run. Dave on line 21. Dave, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
What PA driver is going to surprise you down in Volusia this weekend?
Well, I mean, Macri and Dietrich have had good runs there before, so I don't think that would surprise me. Marks, I don't know. I don't think any of them will. I mean, in the sense of if Macri pulls out a top 5, I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah.
If
True.
If Dietrich finishes 5th, I'm not going to be surprised. He's done it, he's done it before.
Yeah.
If Chase Dietz would finish in the top 5, that would surprise me. I don't think he's been there. So
nope, he hasn't. Never been there.
If Chase Dietz could pull out a good run, that would surprise me. I think it's hard to walk into Volusia and just be good right away when you're a regional driver.
True. Yeah, but he picks it up, tracks up pretty quick too.
He does. So I think Chase Dietz would be the one who. Now, if Macri goes out and wins 3 or 4 races, that's going to surprise me. But I think that's going to be difficult against that field. And so I'm going to say Chase Dietz.
All right, thank you.
All right, Dave, thank you.
Yep.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Santa De La Cruz. They subscribe, I think. Was our 9 o'clock winner for the Eagle Air Aviation $5 Keystone Nationals. We'll get your ticket. We'll get your names over to Colton Gauss at Babs Motor Speedway, and he will send out your tickets. One Woo Rookie of the Year, Emerson Axum. Who wins the Crown Jewels and the other $100,000 to win races in 2026? Jesus. I'm not going to name all 7 of them. Crown Jewels, I think Gravel wins one. I got shut out last year. I think so. I think Gravel wins. Gravel's going to win Knoxville one of these years. There's going to be a year where he doesn't end up in a heap during a heat race. Okay, it's going to happen. So I'll ride with Gravel at Knoxville. Eldora, again, it depends who. I mean, is Larson running it? Corey Day. I think Rico wins a Crown Jewel. He's going to win a 6-figure payday this year. Skagit, especially Skagit, because he's so good out there. Port Royal, I could see him winning the Weikert. Anthony Macri, don't be surprised if he wins the Weikert. So I think it's going to be the same guys. I don't think we're going to get into a situation like we did last year where we have 3 new Crown Jewel winners, which was Ryan Timms, Anthony Macri, and Sheldon Hanshield. That's not going to happen. So I think this year we're going to have more. It's going to kind of be the chalk, so to speak. The guys who are supposed to win them are going to win them. Who wins all 90 races in World of Outlaws this season? Come on. Sugar Bear. Is Volusia a destination track like Eldora or Knoxville? No. I don't think so. Rico's not going to be there. Gio's not going to be there. Aaron Reitzel's not going to be there. Nope. I could see the sprint cars being, I could see the sprint cars being 358 for weekly shows and special shows being the 410s, like what happened to modifieds in the 80s from big blocks to small blocks. Could, but my question then becomes, do you get enough people in the stands for 358s? Because they've had 358 only shows and they've tanked. That's why they don't do them. Babs could get away with it. I think they have a series this year, which is, hey, great. But Lincoln's tried that, and it didn't work. And the 358s run there on the regular. So I don't see that happening. I don't think you can draw enough fans. Did Macri release a schedule yet? No, he did not, but it's going to be pretty close to what it was last year. Most likely not named Timms or Macri to win a big race, crown jewels, I think you mean. Most likely not named Timms or Macri. I mean, like I said, I already answered that kind of. I think Gravel wins one, and I mean, Buddy's really good at Huset's. Now, Crown Jewels is the big three. I think Macri wins the Grove this year. I think he wins the National Open. So, Dale Blaney did an interview recently, and to running back in a car, obviously his dad's race, but sounded like more can you spill any tea, Jeremy? Yeah, he's going to run a few races. Now he has a job. He drives a bus for Allmendinger. So I think his racing obviously is going to be limited, but I could see him running more of his brother's car. I know they wanted to bring it to Port Royal. There's been talk of a couple other shows. So, yeah, I mean, it could be – he could run a few more races. Are you going to post predictions for Volusia top 3 all 4 nights? Tomorrow I will have our podcast up where Ryan Hand and I pick the winner of each night. I'm not going to pick the top 3 each night, but we pick the winner for Volusia each night. So I'll be out tomorrow on the website podcast. Corey Day will not be racing Volusia this week, I was told. Corey Neshaw would know. Not surprising. Are you surprised Gio isn't running due to new team crew chief? No, I don't. I think they put this thing together probably riding around Knoxville a couple weeks later. And, the ordering backlog now it's not easy to get parts and equipment. They're starting a team from scratch. I think they just want to, dot their I's, cross their T's, get everything in line and be ready to go, especially for Las Vegas. And then I think they'll come out for Talladega Short Track and Magnolia with the World of Outlaws and then head west. All right, 114 likes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Who would you consider a dark horse pick for Volusia? Timms. Timms is a guy I think could pull the upset. People think that's not an upset, but let's not get carried away. He won the Knoxville Nationals, Tuscarora 50. That's great, but he didn't win a sanctioned event after that. So I think Timms is a guy you got to watch. I think Macri's a guy you got to watch. Neither of those guys have won at Volusia. I think people think Sheldon's a dark horse. I don't. I think Sheldon is going to win or at least contend for a win. So I like Sheldon, Tyler Courtney this week. I think Schatz is going to have a better than expected week. I think it's going to be typical for Gravel. I think Kofoid's going to be fine. Macedo will be fine. And I I think Cole Macedo will make a race. Last year, he struggled mightily at Volusia. I think he'll be better. But dark horse, I'm thinking Timms, Macri, because Macri, I think, has a second place finish there, but it's not a place you expect him to win. I have to see everybody who's there as well. Timms was hard charger 2 times at Volusia last year. There you go. That's actually a good stat. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins. NARC just released their points payout: 30,000 to the champion, 10,000 for 5th. That's good. I think Brad and them and Kevin Rudine, I think they knew they needed to kind of inject some excitement into NARC. I think $30,000 for the champion. I mean, that's a 200% increase. So I think to get the guys to run out there, you need cars. You need to get Justin Sanders out there. You need to get Dominic Scelzi out there. You need to get Shane Golobic out there. You need to get them out to the track and running this full time. And I think, maybe get some of these guys to invest in 410s instead of 360s, get some guys to move up, maybe get a Jesse Schlottfeld to come down and run NARC, something like that. I think you got to inject some excitement into that series. And we'll see if a infusion of money into the point championship's going to do the trick. Do you think it gets to a point that NOS is oversaturated in sprint car racing? I don't think they're increasing their engagement or I don't think they're gaining any more. Like if they sponsor 2 more cars, I don't think they're gaining more than if they have what they have. You need activation. For a sponsor, you want activation. They're getting that by sponsoring the series. I don't know if sponsoring 4 cars versus 6 cars is going to make a difference. They would know that better than I would. I wouldn't think it would matter because they already have the series and they already have activation at the tracks with their NOS stand and giving away free samples. So, I don't know if sponsoring more cars gives them more value. They're still getting off cheaper than when they were in NASCAR. So, all right. And that's a wrap for the questions tonight. I appreciate everybody joining the show. Sorry I cut it off early. I have some stuff I got to do to get ready for to leave in the morning. I appreciate everybody joining the chat, all the phone calls, and we don't know kind of what the schedule is going to look like over the next week. So I'll keep everybody posted via social media as to when the next show is going to be. Thank you very much. And we'll be back and we'll see you in Florida.